The billionaire who disguised himself as a janitor in his own hospital. When true identity meets tested love, he was just a janitor to her. But when she shared her lunch, he knew she was the one. Welcome back to African Gospel Tales, where real stories meet timeless truth and Jesus is glorified through drama, humility, and purpose. In part one of The Hidden Heir, Neriah Adalek, heir to a billion naira hospital empire, removed his crown and put on a janitor's uniform. He walked the same hospital halls his father built, not to be served, but to watch, listen, and wait. Mocked, ignored, looked down on by powerful men like Dr. Benon and Royal Amika. Yet through it all, one nurse stood out. Emily. She treated him like a human. She shared her faith. And finally, she shared her food. That simple act changed everything. Now in part two, the truth will rise, the pride will fall, and the question remains, will Emily still love the man now that she knows his name? This is the final chapter of The Hidden Heir, a story that reminds us, don't chase the applause of men, seek the approval of God. Romans 12:2. Before you watch, subscribe to African Gospel Tales. More powerful stories are coming, like this video if you believe true love sees beyond titles. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's next. Share this story with someone who believes in purpose, purity, and God's timing. We continue with Neriah, very happy telling Michael how he spoke with Nurse Emily again, and she gave him her lunch. Michael raises his eyebrows, feigning shock. Michael. Food is affection in Lagos. You're entering dangerous territory. Neriah quietly. She's different. I see God when she talks. She's not impressed by wealth or loud people. She makes me feel seen. Michael sits across from him, serious now. Michael. Oga, I've served you for 10 years. I've driven you to boardrooms, private airstrips, and governors' homes. You've made billions without revealing your face to the public. But this janitor game, it's different. Neriah. That's why I'm doing it. Michael. What if she finds out and walks away? Neriah. Then at least I'll know. I want someone who sees me. Before the money, before the name. Michael stands and walks back to the pot, stirring again. Just promise me if this thing goes wrong, we won't go back to the penthouse crying like musicians in heartbreak videos. Neriah laughs heartily, the weight on his chest slightly lighter. Neriah. I promise. Besides, who knows? Maybe God is scripting this one himself. Moments later at the balcony rooftop, Neriah stands overlooking at the city lights of Lagos twinkling in the distance. Cars honk below, generator hums rise from nearby houses. He gazes at the stars, deep in thought. Lord, you gave me all this, but I still feel incomplete. If she's part of your plan, let her see the truth when the time comes. Let me be worthy, without the wealth. He takes a deep breath and turns back inside. The next day, late in the afternoon, the hospital private doctor's lounge is an exclusive space with leather sofas, a glass minibar, and mood lighting. It's off limits to low-level staff, but Neriah knows the building better than anyone. A side corridor connects through the maintenance duct to the rear. Neriah, in janitor uniform, is replacing light bulbs in a quiet hallway just beside the lounge. The door to the lounge is slightly open. Inside, Dr. Benon and Royal Amiki are seated. The TV plays news about hospital donations, but the two men aren't watching. They're leaned in close, whispering with smirks on their faces. Neriah pauses as he hears a familiar name. Dr. Benon. She's the talk of the boardroom lately. Emily this, Emily that. Royal Amika. She's trending, my guy. Pure, gentle, but I'll be the one to taint that record. Dr. Benon, raising eyebrows. Wow, that's dark, even for you. Royal Amika, shrugging. Brother, some women need to be shown who holds the power. She turned down lunch with me, insulted my status. Me, Royal Amika. I'll humble her. Dr. Benon, sipping juice. She's already under hospital scrutiny, quietly pushing patients' files for free treatments. When your foundation deal comes through, I'll make sure she's placed under you. Permanently. Royal Amika, grinning. Perfect. A small office under my wing. I'll mentor her. Both laugh wickedly. Neriah stands frozen, heart thumping. So this is the game. They want to use power to cage purity. The mop in his hand tightens in his grip. He looks down the hallway toward the nursing station where Emily chats with a patient. He looks back at the door. Something shifts in him. Moments later, Neriah walks slowly away from the lounge. He sees Emily passing patient forms to the receptionist. She gives him a warm smile as he approaches. Emily. Back at it again, Mr. Prophet Mop. Neriah, gently, almost trembling. If you ever feel cornered here, promise me you'll tell someone. Anyone. Emily's smile fades slightly. She looks at him, concerned. Are you okay? Neriah, carefully. I'm just saying, some things in this hospital aren't what they seem. Emily stares at him, searching his face. For a second, it feels like she sees through the disguise. Emily, softly. You're not what you seem either. They both pause, locked in a silent exchange. Then she glances down at her files. Emily. Thanks, Neriah. I'll be careful. Neriah nods and walks off. Behind his composed face, his mind races. If I stay silent, she'll suffer. But if I reveal who I am now, I ruin everything. Lord, show me what to do. Have you liked what you are watching? Please like, follow this channel, share, and turn on your notification bells. Hospital Admin Office. The next morning, the walls of the hospital's administrative wing are sleek, glass, steel, and quiet power. The atmosphere is cold, clinical, unlike the warmth of the wards. Nurses rarely come here unless summoned. A buzzer sounds on the nursing floor. Emily, sorting patient files, is called via the intercom. Intercom voice, calm but firm. Nurse Emily Okafor, please report to director's office. Immediately. Her colleagues glance at her. A hush falls. Emily stiffens but nods and says to herself, God goes before me. In hospital director's office. Moments later, a large office with glass walls, abstract paintings, and imported furniture. Seated behind the desk is Dr. Benon, hands clasped like a priest, but eyes sharp like a hawk. To his left sits Royal Emeka, pretending to scroll on his phone, though his eyes flick up every now and then to scan Emily with amusement. Emily enters calmly and stands, hands folded. She does not sit. Emily. You sent for me, sir? Dr. Benon. Yes, Nurse Emily. We've received some concerns. Emily, surprised. Concerns, sir? Dr. Benon. Yes, about your activities, advocating free care for low-income patients, spending unauthorized time in the prayer room during shift hours, and Royal Emeka interrupts, smirking, turning down generous offers of support from major donors like myself. Emily looks at him briefly, then back to Dr. Benon. Emily, steadily. I didn't realize kindness and prayer were under investigation now. Dr. Benon, forced smile. Nurse, this hospital is a business. We need staff who understand structure, not sentiment. Royal Emeka, leaning forward. But there's good news. The Adalek Foundation is considering a new mentorship program. You'd work directly under my office. Emily's eyes narrow slightly, but she remains composed. Sir, I'd prefer to continue my work with patients, sir. Dr. Benon. It's not a request. Think of it as an opportunity to grow. Emily bows slightly, respectful but firm, and says, if it's God's will, it will not come by coercion. She turns and exits. Royal Emeka scoffs. Royal Emeka. She'll come around. They always do. Dr. Benon. She better. Or her time here may grow uncomfortable. Emily steps into the stairwell, breathing deeply. Her hands shake just slightly. She presses her back against the wall. The door opens. It's Neriah carrying a toolbox. He stops when he sees her. Neriah gets concerned and asks, You're trembling. Emily, forcing a smile. I'm fine, just tired. He looks at her, seeing through it. Neriah. They tried to corner you. She doesn't reply, but her eyes water. She wipes quickly and nods. Emily, softly. I think someone is using power to do harm here, but I don't know who to trust. Neriah steps closer. His voice is low, firm, filled with conviction. Trust God, and trust the man who's been watching over you in silence. Emily stares at him, puzzled by the way he said it. But before she can ask, he walks past. Hospital Chapel. That evening, the small hospital chapel is tucked away on the top floor, often forgotten by most of the staff. It's quiet, lit only by a few warm yellow bulbs. A wooden cross hangs at the front, and simple benches line the space. Emily kneels at the front pew, facing the cross. Her uniform is slightly wrinkled, her shoulders visibly tense. Her head is bowed, and her hands are clasped tightly as she whispers her prayers with trembling lips. Praying softly. Lord, you said when the enemy comes in like a flood, you will lift up a standard against him. I don't want to run, I want to stand. But my strength is failing. Please fight for me. Hide me in the shadow of your wings. Make a way where I see none. Her voice cracks. A tear slips down her cheek. She reaches into her pocket and brings out a small notebook where she writes daily prayers. The chapel door creaks open silently. Emily doesn't turn. She remains in prayer. From the shadows at the back, Neriah steps in slowly, his face half lit by the flickering light. He's holding a brown envelope. He looks at her quietly for a moment, his eyes filled with quiet grief and resolve. He walks toward the altar, his footsteps light. He places the brown envelope gently under the offering bowl. Then he pulls out a small, handwritten note and places it on top of it. He steps back, his eyes never leaving her. Lord, she fights battles that aren't hers, for people who may never thank her. Let me fight one for her, even if she never knows it was me. He stands silently for a few more seconds. Then, like a ghost, he exits without a sound. Few minutes later, Emily finishes her prayer and wipes her eyes. As she rises to her feet, something catches her attention. The brown envelope on the altar. Curious, she approaches. The envelope is thick. She lifts it slowly. A note sits on top, in neat, handwritten script. Compassion should never be punished. God sees what man forgets. Let this restore what they tried to take. She opens the envelope and gasps quietly. Inside is a bank payment receipt, stamped and sealed. It shows that a large anonymous donation has been made to cover medical costs for 10 indigent patients she had previously begged the administration to support. She holds the document with trembling hands. Her eyes flood with tears again, but this time not from fear, from awe. Emily whispers, "Who are you? And who has done this?" "Oh, thank you, Lord," in hospital accounts office. Next morning, Dr. Bennon storms in, holding the same payment document, very furious. "Who approved this donation? Who is N?" The finance officer stammers, confused. "Sir, the funds were transferred legally. The donation was anonymous but valid. We were told to release the patient files immediately." Dr. Bennon, "This is my hospital to run. I don't like shadows moving things behind my back." Nurses station, same time. Emily walks in and is met with warm applause from her fellow nurses. Several patients have already been moved to treatment rooms. Her quiet advocacy is finally bearing fruit. Nurse Chica, "You did it, Emily. Someone's finally listening." Emily, confused but smiling, "Maybe. God used someone. I don't know who." As the applause dies down, she catches sight of Neriah quietly wiping down a corridor railing nearby. Their eyes meet briefly. He gives her a small nod and returns to cleaning. Emily stares after him, heart stirred. In the staff room, later that day, Royal Amika storms in, clearly agitated. He meets Dr. Bennon, who is still stewing. "What's going on? That girl's star is rising again. I just got news she's being considered for the hospital's patient advocacy role." Dr. Bennon, "Something's wrong. There's a force we can't see. Money is moving. Walls are shifting." Royal Amika, clenching jaw. "Then we dig. We find out who's behind this." Hospital back garden, sunset. Later that evening, Neriah sits alone beneath a mango tree at the far end of the compound. His shirt is soaked with sweat, and his eyes are tired, but peaceful. Michael approaches, holding a bottle of water. Michael, "You did it, sir," quietly like always. "But they're watching now. That donation? It shook the hornet's nest." Neriah, "I'll take the sting, if she gets the honey." Hospital courtyard. Next day, early evening. The orange glow of the Lagos sunset spills over the hospital compound. Palm trees cast long shadows on the ground. The hum of generators in the background competes softly with the distant call of children playing in a nearby estate. The courtyard is quiet. A cool evening breeze rustles the trees. Emily walks slowly, holding the brown envelope close to her chest. Her steps are unhurried, thoughtful. Her mind is still echoing the words from the note. Compassion should never be punished. God sees what man forgets. Let this restore what they tried to take. N. She reaches the garden bench, where Neriah often sits alone after long shifts. She pauses. He's already there, seated under the mango tree, wiping his forehead with a small towel. His janitor shirt is unbuttoned at the top. His face looks tired but peaceful. Emily walks up to him. He looks up, startled for a moment, but then nods respectfully. Neriah. Nurse Emily. Emily, softly. Just Emily. Please. She sits beside him. A long pause. The kind of silence that holds weight. Unspoken truths hang in the air like the coming rain. Emily. I've been thinking a lot lately about battles, about how God uses people to fight them for others. Neriah. Some battles are loud. Others are won in silence. Emily. Yes, and sometimes the quietest warriors are the strongest. She turns toward him, her eyes now deeply focused. Emily. You've been watching everything, haven't you? More than we think. Neriah doesn't answer. He just looks at her. Calm. Still. She holds up the note. Emily. I know you can't say it. Maybe you don't want to. But I know it was you. Beat. Neriah gently. Why would you think that? Emily, smiling through emotion. Because only someone who understands pain would go this far to prevent it. You didn't just pay bills, you restored dignity. That's not a janitor's job. That's a king's heart. Silence. The wind picks up slightly. Neriah exhales deeply. Neriah. Have you ever felt like, if people knew who you really were, they'd treat you differently? Maybe even love you for the wrong reasons? Emily. All the time. Neriah's eyes lift slowly. Their gazes lock. I didn't want to be seen as a name or a wallet. I wanted to be seen. Emily nods. Well, I see you, Neriah. She places the envelope on the bench between them, softly. Ashes can't hide fire forever. When God lights something, it must shine. A long silence. Then, Emily reaches into her bag and pulls out a small notebook, the same one she used to write her prayers. My grandmother used to say, a man who sweeps the compound before dawn is not afraid of snakes. He simply wants peace before the sun rises. Neriah smiles faintly, repeating it softly. He wants peace before the sun rises. Emily, looking at him. I think you're that kind of man. You're not running. You're restoring. Quietly. Emily opens her Bible. She flips to a marked page and reads softly, the words gentle but powerful. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16, KJV. She closes the Bible. Emily, I may not know all of your story yet, but I know what I see, and I know who I serve. If he placed you here, then I trust it's for something greater. Neriah looks away, emotional. A rare moment. His composure breaks slightly, his jaw tightens. What if you discover that everything you thought about me was true, but the position I hold is higher than you imagine? Emily firmly. Then I'll still respect the janitor. Not because of your status, but because of your spirit. A long pause. Neriah nods slowly, tears glistening but not falling. The two of them sitting side by side under the mango tree, the envelope resting between them like an offering. Above them, the sky grows darker, but there's light still on their faces, as if heaven itself was listening. Just like how the African proverb goes, the man who hides his crown to serve is greater than the king who flaunts it to rule. Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Adelaide Memorial Hospital, Executive boardroom. Morning, the boardroom is sleek and modern. Glass walls, marble floors, polished mahogany table stretching across the room. Framed photos of the late Chief Adeleke, Neriah's father, hang on the wall, though few truly know the story behind the man's legacy. Hospital board members and senior doctors are seated. Coffee cups clink, papers shuffle, murmurs fill the room. At the head of the table is Dr. Benon Michaels, wearing a crisp white lab coat and an air of authority. Royal Amika lounges beside him in a burgundy suit, spinning a luxury pen between his fingers. Others on the board are dressed smartly, men and women of wealth and influence. A junior staff assistant stands by nervously holding a clipboard. Dr. Benon clearing throat. Ladies and gentlemen, I called this meeting to finalize integration of Royal Amika's proposed foundation into our hospital structure. Board Member 1. With all due respect, Dr. Benon, isn't the Adeleke family supposed to approve any new partnership involving assets? Dr. Benon, casually. There has been no word from the family in years. As an acting chief of operations, I believe. The double doors suddenly swing open. Everyone turns. A hush falls. Standing at the entrance is Neriah Adeleke, clean-shaven, wearing a tailored gray suit, black shoes gleaming, posture upright and authoritative. A gold wristwatch peeks from under his sleeve. His presence commands silence. Even the fluorescent lights seem to dim around him. Neriah, calmly. Actually, there has been a word. You just weren't listening. A collective gasp ripples through the room. Royal Amika, blinking in disbelief. Wait, what is this? Isn't that the janitor? Dr. Benon rises slowly, visibly rattled. Dr. Benon, almost stuttering. You? What are you doing here? Where's security? Neriah, walking slowly to the head of the table. No need for security. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. He opens a slim black folder and places it on the table. Inside, a signed legal document bearing the crest of Adeleke Holdings, an embossed seal, and his full name. Neriah Adeleke, sole heir to Chief M.O. Adeleke, legal owner of this hospital, the surrounding medical estates, and the Adeleke Foundation. Silence. You can hear a pin drop. Eyes dart across the table. Royal Amika slowly lowers his pen. Dr. Benon's face turns pale. Neriah, firm but gentle. For weeks I've walked these halls, cleaned these floors, sat quietly while some of you insulted, others ignored, and a few pretended not to see me. He turns his gaze to Dr. Benon, without anger. You spoke about leadership, but true leadership is service. You judge patients by bank accounts and staff by uniforms. Dr. Benon tries to regain composure. This is outrageous, a stunt. How do we even know? Another board member, Mrs. Adesua, a quiet older woman, leans forward peering at the documents. Softly. It's all real. I recognize the seal and the signature. I was his father's legal advisor. Board member 2, whispering. The janitor was the owner? Neriah turns to the whole room, calmly. I wanted to see what the hospital had become without my name attached to the title. And what I saw both saddened and inspired me. He looks toward the door. Emily stands quietly at the back, having been called in by the assistant minutes earlier. Her eyes are wide, filled with shock and wonder, but also deep respect. Locking eyes with her, I saw that compassion still lives, that prayer can still heal, that there are still people, like Nurse Emily, who serve without spotlight. Emily bows her head slightly, moved to tears. Neriah, turning back to the table. As of today, I'm reactivating the Adeleke Foundation Outreach Unit. We will sponsor the treatment of 200 low-income patients per quarter. A new audit of departmental leadership will commence immediately. He walks toward Royal Amika, gently. And Mr. Amika, if your interest in this hospital was genuine, you're welcome to submit a proper proposal. But if your goal was manipulation, influence, and inappropriate control over staff, he pauses and smiles without warmth. You can find your way to the gate. Security knows the route. Royal Amika. You'll regret this. Do you know who I am? Neriah simply. I know who I serve. Emeka storms out. Some board members exhale in relief. Others clap softly. Boardroom after everyone leaves the room is empty now. The energy has shifted. The storm has passed. Emily stands alone, still absorbing everything. Her eyes are fixed on Neriah, who now stands quietly near the window, looking out over the Lagos skyline. The city below buzzes, unaware of the quiet miracle that has just happened. Emily takes a step closer, softly. So, it was always you. Neriah turns slowly. His face is calm, but his eyes carry the weight of a man who has walked 1,000 miles just to reach one moment. Gently. Yes, from the first time I saw you bring life to a patient with nothing more than prayer, from the way you stood up to injustice when it was easier to walk away, from the moment you shared your food with a janitor, you didn't know. He steps closer now. No more disguises, no more secrets. I searched through status. I watched people chase power, but when I saw you, I saw the kind of woman money can't buy. Emily's eyes fill with emotion. She places a hand over her chest. Emily whispering, Neriah, Neriah, firm but tender. Emily, you are the one, the chosen one God set apart, not just for me, but for something bigger than both of us. He takes her hands in his. You didn't fall in love with a title. You fell in love with truth, with purpose. And now I know, not only did I find love, I found destiny in you. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Proverbs 31:10. Emily, smiling through tears. And I found a king who swept the floors just to find my heart. 6 months later, morning sunlight. A bright Saturday morning in Surulere, Lagos. A crowd has gathered under a large white canopy outside a newly painted building. The sign above reads, The Emily Compassion Clinic, a legacy of healing by the Adalek Foundation. Children laugh nearby. Church choir music plays softly from portable speakers. Balloons in white and blue flutter in the breeze. Among the crowd are former patients, nurses, students, and community leaders. In front of the clinic, a red ribbon stretches across the entrance. A small platform is set up for speeches. Neriah stands beside Emily. She's dressed in a graceful Ankara skirt and blouse, her hands clasped, eyes full of gratitude. Neriah wears a simple but elegant suit. No flash, just dignity. Michael stands in the crowd, smiling proudly. Pastor Ifeanyi steps up to the microphone. When this hospital first opened its doors, it was just a building. But when compassion walks through the doors, the Spirit of God follows. He gestures toward Neriah and Emily. He continues, Today we celebrate more than a building. We celebrate obedience. We celebrate what happens when people stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. Neriah takes the microphone. The crowd grows silent. He pauses for a beat, then speaks softly but firmly. I once cleaned the floors of my own hospital, not because I had to, but because I needed to see what money could never buy. Truth, humility, love that doesn't come with conditions. He turns slightly toward Emily. I found that here. I found her here. But more than anything, I found a mirror. And what I saw was that we live in a world now where people wear success like clothing, but forget to dress their hearts. A crowd of young men and women listening. Some wear flashy clothes, some record on their phones. A few lower their heads, realizing the message is striking deeper than expected. Neriah continued. Today, everybody wants to go viral, but how many want to be valuable? We measure status by followers and filters, but God measures by faithfulness. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Don't let this century change your eternity. Build something that lasts. Love with no agenda. Serve with no cameras. And when God lifts you up, don't forget the floor he found you on. Emily steps forward, holding the scissors. She cuts the ribbon. The crowd cheers. The clinic doors open. Inside are new beds, modern equipment, donated supplies, and a prayer corner with a small wooden cross. Several patients from underserved areas are already being welcomed inside, smiling, clapping, grateful. Slow fade to Neriah and Emily, walking through the clinic hallway together. Emily, you really cleaned these halls. Neriah, and now we'll fill them with mercy. In a world where appearance is everything, let your faith be louder than your fashion. Let your love be deeper than your likes. And let your life reflect this one truth. When God crowns you in secret, the world cannot unsee your glory. African proverb: when the roots remember the soil, the tree does not fear the wind. Biblical lesson for today's world. Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Thank you for watching. But please take good note of these lessons. Many people today are chasing modernity and forgetting morality. We dress like the world, speak like the world, and measure ourselves by temporary trends. But like Neriah, we must return to humility. Like Emily, we must choose truth over titles. Don't let the 21st century bury your destiny under dust and filters. Stand for what is eternal. Love without performance. Serve with sincerity. Because heaven doesn't count your followers, only your fruit. You've just watched The Hidden Heir, a story of humility, identity, and divine purpose. Neriah walked the halls of his own hospital disguised as a janitor, not to deceive, but to discover. He didn't want applause. He wanted authenticity. And in Emily, he found a heart that beat for others before self. We live in a world where everyone wants to be seen, but few want to serve. People chase likes but forget love. They follow trends but ignore truth. Let Neriah's story remind us that real greatness often wears overalls, not crowns. That the quiet life lived in obedience will always shine brighter than loud living without direction. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Don't let modern living rob you of eternal meaning. You don't need to trend to be trusted. You don't need titles to have purpose. What you need is God and the courage to walk humbly with Him. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, share it. And remember, you are never too hidden for God to reveal. Conclusion. So far, we've seen a young billionaire walk in secret among the people he should rule. We've watched him mop floors instead of signing checks. We've seen how he searched, not for fame, not for followers, but for a heart that shines without knowing it's being watched. And then, a moment, a simple lunch, a small gesture, not from a queen with a crown, but from a nurse with compassion. It may seem small to the world, but to Neriah, it meant everything. Lesson from Part 1. In life, God often hides greatness in humility. Many are chasing loud miracles, yet ignoring the quiet signs of favor. Emily didn't know she was feeding a king. She only saw someone in need. That's the kind of heart heaven trusts. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Hebrews 13. Never underestimate the power of kindness. You don't know who's watching, and more importantly, you don't know who sent them. But that's just the beginning. In Part 2 of The Hidden Heir, secrets will be exposed, hearts will be tested, and the truth will walk boldly into the light. Will Emily stand firm when the storm comes? Will Neriah stay hidden or step into the name he was born with? Don't miss the next part. Like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to African Gospel Tales. Follow us and share this message with someone who needs a reminder. God is still writing quiet stories with loud endings.